I'm Catherine from the Port Orange Regional Library. Today I'm going to show you what an amazing thing you can do with costume jewelry that you might have lying around the house. We're going to make a mirror. This is one I already made. And it's got a little bit more to do. But this was my first attempt at one and I absolutely love it. What's really interesting is this mirror was made using these two objects. This is actually a tea light mirror from the dollar store. It's used to put a tea light on for reflections. And this is a butter knife. I'm going to glue the butter knife onto the back to have your hand-tooled mirror. Now, some of the tips I've learned along the way. There's little pads on here to protect the table or wherever you lay your tea light. I did not cut this off for the first mirror, but I've cut it off for the second one that I'm about to do. And I have already pre-glued my handle on, as you can see. So this is what I'll begin with. But before I do, let me talk about some of the tools you're going to need. First of all, I used an industrial strength glue. This is much better for holding. You don't have to use this particular glue. There's many brands out there that you can use, but you're going to want something that can stand up to the weight of some of what you're using. You're probably going to need a pair of scissors. You will definitely need a pair of wire cutters and needle nose pliers. I recommend tweezers, possibly binder clips, or even tape to hold your objects down while you're gluing. And this could come in really handy. A couple of paper clips, but actually you could use these if you open them up for moving around your objects in the glue. Keep in mind, if you do use glue like this, you want to read the directions. A lot of these have dangerous fumes now, so you don't want to do it in a closed, tightly closed space. You want to have some type of airflow or do it outside if you can. But make sure you read the label on your glue. Okay, so these are the tools that I use, but then what? Well, then you have to have costume jewelry. This is an example of some costume jewelry that I purchased in a lot, or that we had here at the library. And I looked at it for inspiration to see what I wanted to do. And I found this beautiful pin. So this is my inspiration for this mirror. Half the fun of this, or most of the fun of this, is designing it. Let me show you some other ideas. This gorgeous pin could make a beautiful mirror, and you don't have to put things in the center. This is your design. You can have things up the side. You can have multiple things. Look what a great piece this would make. This would be great for a little girl, a little ballerina. You know, belt buckles. You know, anything to give you a focal point on your mirror. So take a look around, see what you've got, and start playing. I'm going to show you what I've decided to do. But before I do that, let's go back to the one I already made. this one, although it's not that easy to see. I used the sun pin. These pieces are parts of a bracelet that I took apart. I have all kinds of jewels and beads inside of here, and there's silver and gold mixed together, and I put this down and glued it on the side. Now this is not going to stand up for everyday use, but you'll still be able to use it. So I recommend having a way to display it properly, either with a hanger or perhaps a shadow box. I'm sure you'll come up with lots of creative things to do. And you don't have to put anything on your handle. I just chose to because of the silver and gold in this particular case. This design is entirely yours. So let's get started. What I decided was that's my focal piece. But I have this wonderful bracelet. And I had originally planned to take this apart. But look how nice that fits in the middle. So I've decided I'm gonna just glue that bracelet right onto here. Now, you can paint the back of this. I did with the other mirror. I think it took a little bit longer for the glue to dry, and this glue does take time to dry. So I would recommend 24 to 72 hours to glue your handle on first, just to make it nice and stable. But look how nice this bracelet fit. That's going to be half of my work right there, just gluing this on. Now, for my glue, it's not fun to watch somebody glue, is it? It's probably less fun to watch glue dry. But that's what I need to do now. Make sure I get this lined up the way I want it. It's starting to set. Well, let's think about how this design process is going to work. This is going to be my center, with my everything radiating out from the center. But I want to incorporate some blues and some more blacks. I also want to put in some stars. There's this beautiful watch. Sadly, it's broken, but look at how shiny and pretty this is. So maybe I'll do something like this. I have black beads that I could put all around in the center. I have tiny black beads that I may use. I'll probably want to cover this little bit of silver with something, and I think this may work really well. So have fun with your design. Like I said, this is the fun part, and you can't do it wrong. You really can't do it wrong. Just see what you've got, what you can work with, and just have fun. I have lots and lots of different choices here on what I can do. So I'm gonna keep at it, and I'll show you in a little while what I decided on. if you have something like this, beautiful necklace, but I need these beads. So I'm going to be cutting this. I'm going to use my wire cutters, but I want you to see what happens. Look at that. They're gonna all just fall off. Well, we don't want that. So you can take your tape, tape up the end of it so that they don't all come off. You can do that to both sides, and then while you're laying your beads on here. And then at the end you can cut off the tape. All right, so the next thing I did was glue beads around the center. And I did this so that when I put this on top, I'll have some, the black color underneath. But I don't just want black, I'm gonna want blue. And I think that's a good height, so I'm not gonna need to layer it anymore, although I'm probably going to need to put something around that outside. So more beads around here until I get that right, and then decide where I want my blues. And you can see I added another round. Now you can layer these things, just be careful. You don't want too many layers. It's just gonna get too big. But I did want to get the hints of blue without being a solid blue. So I think that'll work. I am making a mess, but I'm gonna keep on making a mess until we're done. Okay, let's check in on my progress so far. I have started radiating my blues out to incorporate more of that. As you can see, I'm making quite a mess. And one thing I would recommend is not having your animals, no cats, no dogs, no small children around while you're doing this craft. If you have a tea tray or something with an edge that can keep your beads from going everywhere, that's a good idea. But at the very least, put a cheap tablecloth underneath so you can pick the whole thing up and clean up afterwards without getting beads all over your carpet. So you can see I've got some more beads around. I do have some strings and things yet to cut. But this is my blue and black background. Some few more things to fill in here. And now I'm gonna glue the pin on, let it dry, and then come back. I like the colors of these beads so much that I put an edge around the outside. So now here's another tip for you, which I really just didn't learn until doing this particular project. If you're going to be using glue, it does tend to dry up and get stringy, but some of this is really fine detail work. You're going to want a fine tip on it. My tip is not fine, and I'm getting more strings because of it, and it's getting harder to do some of the little things. I am not an expert by any means, but that's what I have learned along this journey, and I've had so much fun. In fact, I want to keep making these. So donate all your costume jewelry this way. There. So we're on track. Just a little bit more to go, but let's let it dry before we touch it again. And here's the final product. I've added more beads to give some stars, and I'm really pleased with it. And I think that this and this will make a lovely set for somebody as a gift. Thanks for watching my video today. I can't wait to see what you create.